I'm recording in two parts. So this is Bitcoin, and then also, you know what, it will be easier um, if I have to post it differently. Okay, let's go through altcoin, and again we are going to see their strength. We are going to use M2N Prism, so don't go away. We are going to see how what they show. So I'm going to include that. These two indicators are offered to M2 Club users. I might change the name M2 Club, but right now it is like that. I'm not marketing, only for those who are very interested. Um, are there? Yeah, it's expensive. I know. It's expensive because it offers value there. Okay, so APT is looking good, isn't it? So because this is nice uptrend, right? And then a downtrend, we call counter trend technically, and then oops, little bit of retracement and then continuation. So this is looking good to me. So far, so good, right? So far, so good. So, but for last few days, I would say for last 4 days, it's trying to break about this level. So we can draw a simple line indicating that this is an interim resistance that's facing at this moment, practically speaking. It means that it has to break about this for it to get back to its um, uh, recent high. So what is positive, that from a trend line point of view, what is positive is that it has broken this one, which is positive, right? And so this is good news. And now once it breaks about, then it will try to go higher. Let's look at Atom. So Atom maintain this line. Okay, now we can go to weekly. I had to change it to 1 day for APT because it didn't have enough history. Now it remained about this white trend line, which is good thing, and now supported by this support, which is good. So this is maintaining position. And if you look at the big picture, this is still a consolidation in a big way. And one can extend this line and say maybe it is right now forming more of a more like an ascending triangle like this. See, this may timeline is difficult to say. Focus on the shape. This is a bullish scenario, and of course bearish would be if it goes below like this, and then we'll see. Make sense? So this is how I see that it could continue like this, but if it drops below this, then this is defense, this is defense, and of course this is a major defense. But if this is also broken, then it's in trouble, isn't it? So makes sense. So that's how Atom. Yeah, so far so good. Now AVAX is actually moving in under this or within this descending channel, a parallel channel, right? Where the trajectory of this could be, of course, the attempt of this one and then break out like this. As I said, on x-axis, the timeline, we cannot figure out timeline. It's not about this day, so don't misunderstand that because I drawn it is going to happen on 19th of June. This is not what I mean. It's about the shape, and this is the approximation, not that I know. So nobody knows. It's not about me. Right? So this is a scenario, and of course there is tolerance. This is your this is a recent defense line. This is another defense line. So I would draw and say it would break if this is broken. Yeah. Okay. BNB. BNB similar to, I think, Atom. So I won't repeat it. I won't repeat it. Very similar to Atom. Pattern point of view. Let's look at Doge. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So we had this yellow line. Now it is right beneath that line, which is now a resistance. It was a support. So this is the support. This is support. Support was broken and then supported by the horizontal line we had, right? And then now and then it bounced, but paused. I wouldn't say stopped, but paused, which makes sense. So it also means that scenario point of view, if it goes down and lands on this line only if the support is broken. Otherwise, we could expect it to go up like this, may land again on this one or nearby, and then goes for the higher level like this one. This is good enough. DOT. I liked it. Look at that. Nicely supported here and also supported here. So when I look at this one, it tells me, of course, this line is critical, right? So the way I depict this one, and then this, something like this, and the downside is only if it comes breaks below this. I don't think breaking below will be able to handle by this. So for now, yeah, I'll go with that. So this is like not sure. No, we sometimes we call no trade zone kind of a thing, because we are not sure. It's in between this point of rejection and the point of support. It's in between. So this is another thing to be learned, that sometime it is not tradable. Some coins are not tradable. This is an example. The best level of entry and exit, or entry, I would say, long or short, is support and resistance respectively, right? As I explained in last session. Again, not financial advice, but one of the best practices. That, because simple reason being that, like for an example, those who are interested in long would wait for it to touches nearby support, because if it bounces off that support, that trader can jump in and have a stop loss very close below that support, so the loss can be minimized if the bounce fails. That's the whole idea. But if someone tries to take trade here without knowing the key levels in mind, now if I take long here for an example, and this was my low, then I cannot have my stop loss somewhere here, because it doesn't make sense. This was my defense. So if this defense level is intact, I cannot assume it is going down. That's why my arrow very carefully, in fact, this support is a little higher, but you know, I don't want to go at a micro level. You understood that this low is your reference point, right? So point is, my arrow starts below this low, indicating that this low must be broken for it to make new low with respect to this recent low. Make sense? So anything in between is noise. And also this move up to this is also noise one way or another. Unless it settles or closes about this, we cannot say it is preparing for the next level, because it got rejected multiple times over here. So we have to think this way. So sometimes people think black and white, either they go long or short. They're always on trade. They don't know when to do nothing. And it is so important to learn that sometimes you have to do nothing, means no action. And that's what we call no trade zone, indicating that you do nothing. It doesn't mean you don't prepare for it. No, and it's not that you cannot trade it. Only thing, the express, this is more expression, not a statement. It's the expression is, when you, if you go long, for example, then your stop loss has to be very deep. And in that case, the risk is higher. So the position can be lowered to risk, lower the risk. That can be done. But that becomes complicated if one has enough time, right? So that's how it is. But I hope you got my message. I mean by no trade zone. This has also a descending channel, so I won't depict it. It has to be broken above and for it to otherwise. So, and also the recent low is always a point of reference. The closing was above support. Closings are important. Sometimes there are spikes, but we refer the closing ultimately. That's why these line charts are so beautiful, that they depict the closing. And you see, so clearly, wonderful. It's so wonderful. This more, people don't use this. When I see almost all the TA post candle chart, I also post candle chart, but for our analysis, I use closing price a lot, like this one. From when, so I post candle charts for complete detail, but from analysis point of view, I do use closing chart like this a lot. So if you look at this one, in fact, this gives you the clarity that rather this channel is so beautifully actually maintained. So it respect. So look at this bounce, rejection, bounce, rejection, a bounce. Of course, you see rejection, sort of consolidation, bounce, and bounce, and so on. See the beauty, immense clarity it offers. And that's why on M2, you won't believe I have introduced line chart on M2, though it gives you clear depiction of up and down. I also provided line chart support, which I'll show you. Very interesting. Line with a color. So on a line, you get a color. You get color. It's so beautiful. Okay. So that's EGLE. ETH. ETH, I don't pay a lot of attention to ETH because it's just a replica of BTC in most of the cases, if not all. So I think this is broken, which is good, right? Now this is the next level. There's also point of rejection, by the way. You can say earlier it had hit this one. Now it's approaching that one. So clearly, from a scenario point of view, once it breaks above, we can expect it to go higher. I'll give you the next level. You don't have to worry. And then goes down like this, and then make a move on the upside like this. on the downside point of view, I think I would not draw from here, but to draw from here, somewhere here, that it will make new low if somewhere, if it breaks around $1,200 or so, because then this structure will be broken. Ideally, this low, because it's a little tricky sometimes, because this line could change like this, and it could be depicted like this. So I had to do like this. This is like, because the angle of the lines could change, and this is totally valid. That's why my arrow would begin from here around 1100. So this is a problem with trading on the downside if one is biased towards in that case, it could make new low only if this 1100 is broken. Otherwise, it could really go through crazy consolidation. But yeah, one could take chances near resistance, as I mentioned in my previous session. FET, strong coin, remember. Went down, but not quite close below support, which is amazing. And now it's going. So whole entire thing is consolidation. And we should put a box here indicating that this is our range for now. Correct? It means that from a probability point of view, it right this is what we can draw. Got it? Yeah. So this is consolidation zone. Remember, consolidation is where people get frustrated and sometimes lose the most in my experience. That's what happens if they ignore. And that's why this is another case of no trade zone, so to speak. It's so I want to explain again. You can refer the video. Some of you just joined. I won't explain it again. You can refer what I mean by no trade zone. It's not a statement, but an expression that one can trade, of course. There's no restriction, but why it is not a good idea, which I explained already. Okay, so let me remove, oops, Filecoin. Why that is happening? Okay, let's understand Filecoin. It got rejected from here, fine, but supported here. Another attempt kind of rejected from R1 and staying here. Not bad. Okay, not bad at all. Now, what next? So what we can see here, like what we're doing, is we have to again put a box, something similar, or this kind of a drawing. Yeah. And it has to break this for it to make, I wouldn't go extreme for now, but yeah. So this is a tricky part for the Filecoin, because the structure of this is so, and it tends to move a lot. It's very difficult to, unless one takes advantage here. So the long would take advantage here, short would take advantage here, and so on, as I mentioned, right? In between, it's going to be very, very tricky because the key levels are so close by. So we have to put a box like this, unfortunately, which indicates the consolidation in this range. Because this is like very volatile coin. Volatile not in terms of every hour it moves up and down. I think volatility point of view, it's more about its range is too much. Range is too much. When it goes up, it goes up like crazy. When it goes, and the same for the downside move. For an example, when it went up, this was like in terms of percentage. If we measure the percentage quickly, and this weekly candle up low to is 102 percentage, but in next 3 weeks, it wiped out almost everything from a low point of view, not from closing, but those who are watching would see that it's total wipeout, right? And that's what happened somewhere here as well. Look at this is its tendency, which I don't like sometimes from a reliability point of view, that it pumps so hard as if it's going to break above, and this is the only coin, nothing, no other coin is like Filecoin, and then disastrous like this. So this is not the first time. It had happened in past as well, like this one. In fact, over here as well, it moved up as if it's going to go to the moon, like 70%, 1% move. And this is probably more than 100% move. Yeah, 122. See, but then it disastrous. And similarly, now here at least it's trying to move up. But that's what is the problem with this, as far as the price action point of view. This is so volatile with that regard. Okay, now that's Filecoin. So Filecoin has this big disadvantage that when it loses big way. FTM was crazy yesterday. I was watching its price action. Now, this was earlier line, so we can remove it, but I would keep it for reference. This is more recent structure. It broke above, went all the way to R2, retraced, supported on this support, and then also landed on this one, remember. So it is paying attention, or you can say respecting key levels, and that's what we want. We would like it price to respect key levels. Now, even if this bounce, yesterday's bounce stopped somewhere here, or today, you see, paused, I would say, not stopped, paused. And that gives you clarity. Now, those who are shorting would short here, but will close short above R1, not financial advice, but a live example, so to speak, right? And those who are long would long when there's cleaner breakout. There can be a retest after this one, but at least that will confirm in that case. But if you ask me from a clarity point of view, this is my point of rejection, and this is my point of, so it has actually huge consolidation from a long-term point of view. From a long-term point of view, uh, of course, we cannot say it will go down deep unless it breaks this one, the recent low, and we cannot say it will go for new high from a probability point of view unless it breaks above R3, something like this. Yeah, this is unfortunate because the structure of this is so. Yeah, like that. But yeah, I mentioned about planning video, in planning video, how one can plan, in a 2-step, 3-step process. So you can refer it. It's posted on academia if you haven't seen it. Anyways, so this is FTM for now. Matic, slowly now. Now it's slow. Now it comes. Okay, perfect, right? So this pattern worked. This pattern worked. And last week we had added this one. So at least half of the pattern worked. Why? Because it bounced, right? So we can say it worked partially for now. It is not complete, so we cannot say it's done, right? But this is what the bull would expect it to happen, where it could, like, from little turn and twists, like down and up and down, and eventually goes up like this in this manner. This is likely to be the pattern. And from a bearish point of view, of course, it has a big wiggle room. Sorry, but it has a big one. And this coin is crazy coin. I am saying crazy, not in a negative point of view, but this coin is a robust coin, a highly resilient coin compared to any other coin, even more resilient than Bitcoin actually. Now, how I'm saying, I mean, it's not that the price action, there's always a movement, but this is crazy. See, this is the June, so BTC made new low in last quarter, Q4 of 2022, where Matic actually started moving up much earlier, starting from Q3. So its low was Q3. You can say Q2 2022. See the difference. Second aspect, you would see that it requires around 133% for new all-time high, which is more or less probably the same as BTC. But compared to any other alts, this is pretty good if you measure that way, right? We can have a quick measurement of BTC just from a curiosity point of view. Yeah, it requires 159. See, so this is, of course, you can see this. I mean, you can measure differently, but that's why, to me, this is a beast. Matic is a beast, really a beast. I think top class or number one altcoin in present. I'm not saying forever, in currently, for sure, because of the reason, technical reason. It look at the bounce from Q2 2022 and so close to all-time high. So that's why it's so resilient. Anyway, so that's if you have to rank, this is how I'll rank. Okay, today my drawings are loaded with some delay. Okay, so it's now approaching support one. So what we can say that, okay, now opportunity point of view, right? It has to break above S1, then test, and then goes up like this, correct? Or then goes down in that case. Yeah. Yeah, wide range. So this is near resistance. You can say this is more like a pushback. So this may turn into scenario two. Now you know scenario two. I don't have to explain, right? Scenario one, scenario two, scenario three. If you don't know, if you will, I covered today in first session, in the beginning of this video or other video, Bitcoin. So you refer that one. Okay, the next one is near. So near has approached support. This is the typical behavior. Remember, when the support is broken, that coin tends to touch that support again. Not always, depends how deep it goes, but it tends to. If the breakdown is close to this, like this is a close, not so deep, then it tends to touch it, and then of course after consolidation, it tries to break over. So if somebody again, the risk management point of view, if somebody has protection here, stopped out, and then one can wait and then say, okay, now it's up, now let me get back. Not financial advice, but one of the best practices. So stop losses are so important and must to have, otherwise it's actually a crime in trading. Without stop loss is like gambling. And it's so simple. If it goes down, fine, but then if it goes up, then what to lose? My favorite analogy is this. Imagine a scenario: you're riding a train, and assume that you want to go to the last station, but this imaginary train doesn't tell you which one is the last station. So you are in this imaginary train, right? And then you get down to a station where it stops. That is stop loss. Let's say you're stopped out. You get down. You stopped out. However, with assumption that it's going down, and it stopped, so it's a reality as well. But what we don't know whether it's a last stop or not. So if you see the train starts moving again, what you do is you hop in, which is similar to getting stopped out here and getting back in here. I hope that makes simple. Analogies are very important sometimes to visualize what we mean. So imagine you get down and say, oh, this is not the last one. A train is moving, because this is imaginary train. Remember, you don't have the itinerary. And so you get back. So you take chance, you have to get down, because this is the last one. And imagine after that train platform, there is a big valley in this imaginary train, okay? But you don't know whether this is the last stop. But imagine that after that stop, there could be a big deep valley. So if you don't get down, you go into the, or you basically crashed into a valley. But if it starts moving further, that means it's not a there is no valley, but a higher level in terms of price, and further stations in terms of chart. I think this is the best I could think of as at this moment from an analogy point of view. That's why getting down is important, and that's why getting in is important. People miss the point. They don't put a stop loss, so they first of all lose a lot, and second, they think they're stopping out is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not kicking out. It's not a bad thing. But missing out the re-entry is really a missed opportunity. So the alert should be set. Okay. Beautiful, isn't it? This was like I had added actually for Twitter. Yeah. So it bounced. So I'll keep this line. Makes sense. It's bouncing nicely. Today is down by 4%. Of course, it's somehow related to BTC in my point of view. But we can clearly, I think we have to draw a box here clearly. Keeping this in line. And say, yeah, oh, should not use this. Oh man, the box needs to be bigger, unfortunately. That's why this is a tricky phase. Oops. Yeah. Oops. What happened? Hmm. Okay. So that's how it is. Sand coin. Sand coin, sand coin. Let's load up, load up, load up. Yeah. Supported here. Very good. That makes the life easier. I would draw a horizontal line indicating it's little low. So that's always a reference point. The closing was about, this is the low end, the closing. Yeah, so it has to break about this one. And so again, this is a big one. long consolidation phase. So this is not trending coin, as you can clearly see. This is not trending. This is still in consolidation. It's very important to understand. Yeah. See, this was from last time, I think. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe this didn't go this deep, this only this much, which is good. So we can change the drawing like this. Timeline point of view is a little different, but more or less the shape hasn't changed. If you look at the shape, it hasn't changed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I had to, and why I drawn such a big path. I mean, long one. Anyways. Whew. Hmm. So this is very tricky. And those who are very TA enthusiast, this is also inverted head and shoulder. Not a beautiful one. Not a beautiful one. Yeah. And this is head. Hmm. Something like okay. But remember that then this line is important. The recent low. I should change the color. Yeah, now it makes sense. Good. So it actually depicts what it's. So this is like this is whole entire thing is consolidation. This is bottoming process, but not really not high enough. We can clearly see this. This is not high enough where we can say now it's confirming anything. Very encouraging. And we had called out when it was here, remember. So those who took the trade from here wouldn't be worried. But yeah, huge, nothing much in last 1.5 months. So this is patience, like testing time for sure for those who are holding it. Anyways, that's it. I think I covered everything in detail. We can have a quick look at DXY and Treasury and then M2 and Prism for coin of your choice. Those who are attending live, there's always something additional for them. So that part won't, I should not be recording, but I just for in introducing Prism and M2, I would record this time. Okay, so DXY on weekly is here. I drawn so much. Oh, this was my homework. So this is a channel actually, big channel, okay. Big green channel that you see where it is here. So it's not done yet. That's my take. It's not done. It has to go down further, especially break this low is so important. Oh, this is so critical. This is so critical. Um, this support is so important. It has to break below this one for it to go down. Like this. Otherwise, it is still in the game. It's of course not strong. Of course, it's not strong. And some indicators are indicating downtrend, no doubt, because it's in down. But in my point of view, this is not done yet. Something like this, not done yet. It has to break this $100, this low basically. So this is still alive, unfortunately. Uh, I called out, oops, I added so much. I called out, this is support, again on support. Wow. So I think I can go lower time frame on a weekly. Yeah, like this. So remember, this was added. It work, and then red arrow. You see red arrow, this was added last time. Now it is much deeper. Okay, much deeper, which is fine. But it stopped here. Now we can say the next arrow has to be below this, right? Next arrow has to be below this. Otherwise, this could be the craziest move otherwise. We have to wait and watch. So we should say this whole entire thing is support. And then because there's spikes. Low, I'm just covering the low. Closing is above the support. Closing is not, hasn't broken the support. These are spikes. Wow. So this is how it looks like. So definitely it's a pivotal moment, right? Or phase, so to speak, not a day or moment, but a phase. So that's it from my end. I believe I covered everything, maybe a lot today, a lot. But you might have some questions. I'll open. Q&A is not recorded. So I'm going to stop recording here.